Okay guys, so proceed tayo dito sa ating next lesson. Pero bago ko discuss yung ating next lesson, so sagutan natin yung question. So can you solve square root of 15 minus 8i? So kung ikaw tatanungin, ano yung square root ng complex number? So sir, wala ka pang binigay sa amin, hindi rin siya kaya ng de Moivre's theorem. Okay, kasi sa de Moivre's theorem, yung nire-raise lang niya is mga natural number. So kuna raise to 1, raise to 2, raise to 3, raise to 4, mga ganun. So in-expand mo siya using yun. So hindi mo siya kaya expand using 1/2. Okay, so for the meantime, solve ko sa algebraically. So before tayo mag-proceed sa formula. So paano algebraically? Pag in-square root ko ang isang number, alam ko may sagot number. Tama. Ngayon, pag in-square root ko ang complex number, alam ko ang sagot complex number. Tama. Ulit, pag in-square root ko ang isang complex number, ang sagot complex number. So let's say ganito. So ulit algebraic ko ito. So let's say square root of 15 minus 8i. That is equivalent sa P plus QI. So, aware ako, ang sagot dyan, after ko may square root, is a complex number, which is P plus QI. Okay? Ngayon, after nyan, so mula dyan, pwede ko siyang square both side. So, pag ni-square ko both side, so, squaring both side, this is equivalent sa 15 minus 8i, which is equal sa P plus QI raised sa 2. Okay, then expand ko yung right side. This is 15 minus 8i, which is equal sa P squared plus 2 PQI, tama? Then plus Q squared I squared. Okay, then simplify natin further. So, obviously, yung I squared magiging negative. So, this is 15 minus 8i, which is equivalent sa P squared minus Q squared. So, sinama ko na siya. Kasi siya yung real part natin. Okay, then parenthesis ko yan. Then plus, factor out ko yung I, then multiplied by 2PQ. Okay. So, ngayon, so naalala mo yung by definition of 2 equal complex number. So, by definition, of equal complex number. So, equate ko yung real part ng left side sa right side. Then, equate ko rin yung real part, imaginary part ng left side sa left side. Okay, so that is, una, we have 15 is equal to P squared minus Q squared. Okay, that is equation 1. Okay, for equation 2, we have negative 8, which is equal sa 2 PQ. Okay. So, mula kay 2. So, from 2. Solve natin si P. So, from 2, solve for P. So, that is negative 8, which is equal sa 2 PQ. Then, divide both side by 2Q. So, that is negative 8 over 2Q, which is equal sa P. So, therefore, P is equal to negative 4 over Q. Okay, so nakahanap ako ng value ng P. Next, yung value ng P is substitute ko sa equation 1. So, from 1, substitute P is equal to negative 4 over Q. Tama, so that is 15 is equal to negative 4 over Q raised to 2 minus Q squared. Okay, then expand. So that is 15, or sorry, simplify, that's 15. This is 16 over Q squared minus Q squared. Okay, then multiply both sides by Q squared. So that is 15 Q squared is equal to 16 minus Q to the 4th. Tama. So, next natin dyan is we need to solve for Q squared or Q to the 4th. So, simplify further. So, this is equivalent sa, I think, simplify ko, gawin ko itong Q to the 4th. Gawin ko positive plus 15Q squared minus 16 is equal to 0. So, obviously, factorable siya, no? So, factorable siya sa plus 15. So, possible ang factor na is ganito. Q squared plus 16, tama? Then, q squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So, tama naman. Okay, so next is kunin natin mga square root niyan o yung kanyang by zero product property. So, q squared plus 16 is equal to 0. Then isa, q squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So, therefore, this is q squared is equal to negative 16 or q squared is equal to square root of negative 16, that is, so ano yun, so that is q is equal to positive and negative 4i. Tama, that is positive and negative 4i kasi may negative dyan. Okay, then lastly, sa isa, q squared is equal to 1, so that is q squared is equal to square root ng 1, which is q is equal to positive and negative 1. Okay, so may value na tayo ng mga q, actual value. Next, ilan yung value ng q? Ang value ng q natin dyan is 4. Okay, so ito yung p. So una, for q is equal to negative 1, negative 1 unahin natin, si p ay equivalent kay negative 4 over negative 1, which is positive 4. Tama. So next, for q is equal to 1, that is p is equal to negative 4 over positive 1, which is equal to negative 4. So may dalawang value ng q. Okay, so next natin is next value is something na dito. So for q is equal to 4i. For q is equal to 4i, that is p is equal to negative 4 over 4i, which is negative 1 over I. Okay, then pag conjugate nyo lang, that is I times I. So this negative 1 sa ilalim. So therefore this is positive I. So another, pag Q is equal to negative 4I, so that is P is equal to negative 4 over negative 4I, which is equal sa 1 over I. So which is equal sa negative I pag sinimplify. Okay, so check na natin. Ang value daw ng ating P is P plus QI. So may nahanap kasi tayong ilang P. Ilang P. Ang nahanap natin mga P is una 4. Yung P is 4, Q is negative 1. So unang value na hanap natin is P is 4. Ulit P is 4, then Q is negative 1. So yung una daw value ng P natin is P is 4, then plus negative 1 I, negative I. Ayun yung una kasi negative 1 eh. Negative 1 yung Q. Next is negative 4 tapos 1. Sunod naman is negative 4 tapos positive I. Kasi 1 yung Q. Okay, next is I. So kung meron kang 4I, meron namang I. Okay, so ICQ. So another naman, ICP. Okay, ICP tapos positive 4I. So this is plus 4I multiplied by I, which can be simplified as I minus 4. Tama, that's I minus 4. So next is yung negative I. So next is negative I. So that's minus 4I times I, kasi nga P plus QI yun eh. So yung P daw negative I, yung Q negative 4I times I, kaya ganun nangyari. So this is negative I. Okay, negative I, then that is plus 4. So kung napansin nyo, si 4 minus I saka si negative I plus 4, iisa. Si negative 4 plus I saka ito, iisa. Okay, so therefore, dalawa na yung value. Ang value lang niya, ang sagot lang natin is 4 minus I, tama, saka negative 4 plus I. So ito yung square root ng ating 15 minus 8I. So, ano napansin nyo? Tama naman. Pag square root, expected ko dalawa value. Kaso nga lang nangyari, mahaba yung solution natin nung ginawa natin yung algebraic. So, ito yung algebraic way para ma-solve siya. So, hoping na makapag-generate ka. So, at the same time, mahirap siya pag cube root. So, pag cube root, iba na idea. I-cube root mo na yan, tapos simplify mo. So, mas mahaba yung solving, mas mahaba solution. Ano pa pag fourth root? Okay? So, kaya nga sabi ko sino, merong ituturong formula in which iiwasan natin to, yung algebraic way natin. Okay, so sir, bakit mo tinuro? Tinuro ko para magkaroon ka lang ng convenient way para isolve siya kung nalilito ka doon sa formula na ituturo ni sir. Okay, so proceed tayo doon sa ating formula or yung lesson talaga natin for today. Okay, so proceed na tayo doon sa lesson 6 talaga natin. So, yung algebraic way, tinuro ko lang kanina. So, ngayon, lesson 6, the nth root of a complex number. So, if you have z raised to 1 over n, so meaning z raised to 1 over 2, z raised to 1 over 3, third cube root, say, square root, fourth root, fifth root, so yan yung mga yan. So, that is equivalent using the Moivre's theorem, that is r raised to 1 over n, then cosine theta plus 2k pi over n plus I sine tapos pi plus 2k pi over n. So, note that dito, ano yung mga k? So, tingnan nyo note that c sub k is the root of z raised to 1 over n. So, ito lang yung de Moivre's form niya, yung nasa taas. So, ngayon, sa pagkuha talaga ng root, sa pagkuha talaga ng root ng ating complex number, ang ginagamit natin na notation is c sub k. So, for k is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. So, for example, ang kukunin mo is square root, mag-start ka sa c sub 0, tapos c sub 0, tapos c sub 1. Dalawa lang. Pag cube root, c sub 0, c sub 1, c sub 2. Pag fourth root, c sub 0, c sub 1, c sub 2, c sub 3. Okay, so tanda na, lagi ka mag-i-start sa 0. So, importante yan. So, pag kinalimutan mo yan, magkakamali ka talaga. Okay, next is, where c sub k is equal to r raised to 1 over n times the exponential of I, tapos times 0 plus 2k pi, then may nakalimutan sa ilagay dyan, lagyan nito ng over n. Okay, doon sa loob. So, after ko masimplify yan, 0 plus 2k pi, divide ko by n, multiply ko by I. Okay, where theta is equal to argument of c, plus then yung r is the modulus of c natin. Okay, so another, kung ayaw mo ng ganyang form, pwedeng ganito. C sub k is equal to r raised to 1 over n, tapos cis. Okay, cis ng theta plus 2k pi over n. So, at least mas convenient to. So, kung nalito ka exponential, ito na lang. So, convenient yan. So, that is cosine plus I sine. So, mas better yan, I think. So, ngayon, try natin. So, kung napansin nyo yung number 2, na-solve ko na kanina. May sagot tayo dyan, 4 minus I, tas negative 4 plus I. So, check natin using this formula. So, tandaan na, pag cube root, automatic 0, 1, 2. Pag square root, 0 and 1. Tapos, ano mga importante? Kunin si modulus, kunin si argument. Okay, so, proceed tayo sa number 1 example. So, for number 1, find the cube root of negative 8i. So, ano yung mga importante? Ang importante, hanapin mo si c. Si c natin dito is si negative 8i. Tama, ngayon, ano naman yung n? Yung n natin dito is yung 3 kasi cube root yung pinapahanap. Tama, next, kunin natin yung modulus. Ano yung modulus ng z? Ang modulus ng z natin is equal to 0 squared plus negative 8 squared. Tama? So, negative 8 squared is 64. The square root of 64 is simply 8. Okay, so therefore, the modulus is 8. Next, what is the argument? So, what is the argument of negative 8i? So, ano ba argument yan? So, graph ko lang ha. Ang graph kasi negative 8i ay nasa dito. Kung napansin mo, andito si negative 8i. So, anong sabi ko pag ando doon? So, may formula tayo dyan. So, pag ando dyan, nasa y-axis lang talaga siya. That is, sa taas, positive pi over 2. Sa ilalim, that is negative pi over 2 or negative 90. So, this is negative 90 degrees. Okay, so without looking or without computing, nakita natin siya. Okay, so ngayon, punta tayo dun sa solution niya. So, paano siya isa-solve? So, meron na tayong n, tama? Meron tayong modulus, meron tayong argument. So, pwede natin isolve lahat ng value. So, saan tayo mag-i-start? C sub 0, C sub 1, then C sub 2. Okay, so start tayo sa C sub 0. So, solution, ito yung roots. Okay, so C sub 0, if you have C sub 0, That is equal sa r raised to 1 over n. What is r? Modulus. Okay, so that is modulus. So that is 8 raised sa 1/3. Kasi n yun. Okay, then yung c is i-expand ko na yan. So that is cosine. Tama. Cosine theta. So ano yung theta? That's negative 90 degree. Negative 90 degrees plus 2 times, ano yung k? C sub k to eh. So that is 0. Times pi. All over 3. Okay, so nasundan. So bakit napalitan yung k na 0? Kasi c sub 0 tayo ngayon. Okay, then plus I sine ng similar lang doon. Negative 90 degrees plus 2 times 0 times pi all over 3. So another, para hindi ka na melt sa pi, yung pi automatic 180. So may 180 ko na lang yan. Ha? Kasi degrees kasi yung ginagamit ko eh. So taka, no? Degree tapos radian. Okay, so proceed tayo dito. So 8 raised to 1/3, that is equivalent sa 2. Then this is cosine ng negative 90 plus 2 times 0 times 0 is 0. So negative 90 divided by 2 is negative 30. So this is negative 30 degrees. Tama. Then this is plus I sine. Siyempre ganun din. This is negative 30 degrees. Okay, next. I-calculate nyo yan. That is 2 multiplied by, ano yung cosine negative 30 degrees? So pag kinalculate cosine negative 30 degrees, that is square root of 3 over 2. So that is square root of 3 over 2 plus yung sine ng negative 30 degrees, that is negative 1/2. So that is I multiplied by negative 1/2. Okay, then simplify further. That is 2 times square root of 3 over 2, that is square root of 3. 2 times negative 1/2, that's negative. So negative I. So therefore, ang unang root is square root of 3 over square root of 3 minus I. Okay, so sa C sub 0 pa lang yan. So next is C sub 1. So C sub 1 is similar ulit. 8 raised sa 1/3. Okay, then dito magbabago konti. This is cosine ng negative 90 degrees plus 2 times 1. Dito magbabago times 180. So 180 degrees ko na para hindi na magkamali. So that is divided by 3. So saan galing yung 3? Yun yung n. Plus I sine ng negative 90 degrees plus 2 times 1 times 180 degrees all over 3. Okay, so this is C sub 1. This is 2 multiplied by cosine. Okay, so check natin. So 2 times 1 times 180 is 360. 360 minus 90 is 270. Sama. So 270 divided by 3, that is 90. So ulitin ko lang ha. 2 times 180 plus negative 90 divided by 3 is 90 degrees. So this is cosine 90 degrees. Okay, then plus, ganoon din, that is I sine ng 90 degrees. So ang kagandaan naman dito, pag na-solve mo na isa, similar lang din sa kabila. Okay, so this is equivalent sa 2. So cosine 90 degrees is 0. Tama, kasi nasa taas yan, that is 0. Then plus I, kasi yung sine 90 degrees is 1. Okay, so therefore, ang sagot dito is 2i. Okay, lastly, C sub 2. Kasi alam mo cube root, tatlo yung value. So that is 8 raised to 1/3. Then that is cosine ng negative 90 degrees plus 2 times 2 times 180 degrees all over 3. Okay, so kung ano nga dito, this is plus I sine ng negative 90 degrees plus 2 times 180 degrees all over 3. So again, hindi fiction tree ha. Nakadepende yan kung ano yung hinahanap ko niya. Port root, port yan. Okay, next, this is equivalent sa 2 multiplied by cosine. So solve lang sir. That is 2 times 180 Okay, minus 90 degrees divided by 30, that is, sorry, kamali, ulit ko lang. 4 times 180 degrees minus 90 degrees, okay, divided by 3, 210. So this is 210 degrees. This is 210 degrees plus I sine ng 210 degrees. Okay, so this is equivalent sa 2. Okay, multiplied by cosine 210 degrees. So cosine 210 degrees is negative square root of 3 over 2. This is negative square root of 3 over 2 minus I 1/2. Okay, kasi nga nasa quadrant 3 yan eh. So this is equivalent sa negative square root of 3 minus I. So therefore ito yung value. Therefore ano yung roots ng cube root ng negative 8I? Ito yung square root of 3 minus I, 2I, then si square root of 3 minus I. Okay, so ngayon kanina may sagot na tayo nito. Number 2, solve for square root ng 15 minus 8I. So try natin yun yan. So for number 2, ito yun. Okay, so for number 2, so we need to solve yung square root ng 15 minus 8I. Okay, so sulat ko muna ang z. Z natin is equal to 15 minus 8I. Ang n natin dito is automatic 2. Kasi square root lang naman eh. Okay, so next is, ano yung modulus nito? So modulus ng z natin ay equal sa square root ng 15 squared. Okay, plus negative 8 squared. So that is equivalent. So solve lang na sir. That is equivalent sa square root ng 15 squared plus 8 squared. So that's 17. Okay, so this is 17. Eksakto naman. Next natin is the argument. Argument ng 15 minus 8I. So anong quadrant yan? That is quadrant 4. Tama? So ano sabi natin nakaraan sa quadrant 4? Sa quadrant 4, so that is only wala tayong gagawin. So kung pagkakalaga ko lang gagawin. So sa quadrant 2 yung may add sa minus, sa quadrant 3 yung magdadagdag. So pag quadrant 4 walang gagawin. So quadrant 1 and quadrant 4 walang gagawin. So just arctan. Tama. So that is arctangent. So that is arctangent ng negative 8 over 15. Okay, so that is equal sa shift arctangent ng negative 8 over 15. So check ko lang. So that is equal sa negative 28 degrees. Negative 28.07. So this is equal sa negative 28.07 degrees. So 2 decimal okay na sa akin. So kung di ko man nara-round off or nara-round up minsan, so pasensyahan nyo na. Hindi ko na napapansin kasi 2 decimal automatic kinukuha ko eh. Okay, so although may bearing talaga siya. So next is, syempre, proceed na tayo. Meron tayong n, meron ng modulus, meron ng argument. Proceed na tayo sa formula. So since n is equal to 2, dalawa lang, c sub 0 sa c sub 1. So una, c sub 0. So c sub 0. Okay, so another, hindi to exacto kasi may decimal eh. Hindi natin nakuha ng yung buong decimal. So probably, nasa 3 point something lang to. Or approximately mo kuha natin saktong sagot. So that is, ano yun? This is modulus. This is 17 raised sa 1/2. Then multiplied by, this is cosine. Kasi this is cosine ng negative 28.07 degrees plus 2 times 0 times 180 degrees. All over 2 lang. Okay, kasi 2 lang naman yung n. So next is plus I sine ng negative 28.07 degrees plus 2 times 0 times 180 degrees all over 2. Okay, so this is equivalent sa square root of 17 multiplied by cosine. So okay, so solve lang yan sa real. So that is negative 28. So negative 28.07 divided by 2. Negative 14. So that is cosine ng negative 14.035 plus I sine ng negative 14.035 kasi nga parehas yun. Next, this is equal sa square root of 17 multiplied by cosine ng negative 14.035 0.035, that's 0.97. So that's 0.97. Okay, then plus or I, so that is sine ng negative 14.035. That is negative 0.24 I. Okay, then i-multiply natin further yan. That is square root of 17 times 0.97. So 0.97 multiplied by square root of 17, that is 3.99. So tama nga yung computation siya. This 3.99. So minus, so that is 0.24 times square root ng 17, that is 0.99 din. So that is negative 0.19. So that is 0.99 I, or approximately this is 4 minus I. Okay, so nakuha natin. Okay, so next is yung C sub 1. So C sub 1, similar lang, magbabago lang yung key natin. So C sub 1 is equal to 17 raised to 1 half multiplied by cosine ng negative 28.07 degrees plus 2 times 1 times 180 degrees all over 2. Okay, then plus I sine ng negative 28.07 degrees plus 2 times 1 times 180 degrees all over 2. So skip ko na yung process. This is equivalent sa square root of 17. Okay, then multiplied by cosine, that is cosine, so 360, okay, minus 28.07, okay, then divided by 2, that's 165.95. So that's cosine ng 165.965. Okay, then plus, ganun din siya, that's plus I sine ng 165.965 degrees. Okay, so solve ko na siya literal kasama yung square root of 17. So this is cosine 165.965, okay, times square root of 17, is negative 4.0. So that is negative 4.00002. Okay, then next is sine 165.965. Okay, then times square root of 17, that's 0.99. So that's plus 0.99 I, or approximately negative 4 as I. Okay, so kung napansin mo, parehas din sa sagot natin kanina. So pinagkaiba lang, ito ay may decimal. Eksakto yung lumabas sa kanina. So hindi ko kasi eksakto kinuha lahat ng decimal eh. Okay, so sa akin naman okay lang naman yung decimal. Okay, so hoping naiintindihan mo paano kunin sa argument. So kailangan mo lang naman, yung mga square root o yung mga nth root. So kailangan mo lang yung argument, yung n, yung c sub 0, c sub 1, c sub 2. Okay, so dapat naiintindihan mo rin yung pag-evaluate nito. So tamang pagpindot lang ng calcu. Then huwag kalimutan yung n sa ilalim, yung 2, yung 3, nagbabago yan. Okay, so proceed tayo sa next, yung unity naman. So yung last topic natin for today is the nth root of unity, or 1 raised to 1 over n. So baka kasi isipin mo, so ano yung nth root ng 1? So sabi ng complex number, kung ilan yung n, ganun karami yung roots. So for example, square root 2, cube root 3, fourth root 4, so fifth root 5. So ganun din sa 1. So kunwari kinuha ko yung square root of 1, 2 yan. So alam mo, aware ka sagot na 1 and negative 1. Pero pag sabi yung cube root, syempre di ka maniniwala. Sa'yo, 2 lang yan. Okay, so maniniwala ka. So I guess another thing is, dito masasolve natin yan gamit pa rin yung kaninang formula, pero proceed tayo dito. So mag-iiba lang kasi konti. So ano yung z natin dito? So kung z natin, di-derive natin formula. Yung n raised to 1 natin, okay, so yung z natin dyan is 1. Tama? Ang obvious na ang modulus ng z natin is 1. Tapos ang argument ng 1 natin is ano? Ang argument ng 1 natin is 0 degree or 360. So, pinaka-safe, 0 degrees or 0 degree. Okay, so ngayon, proceed tayo dun sa ating formula. So, sabi, C sub 0 or C sub K is equivalent sa Z raised sa 1 over N. Tapos, that is C's ng theta plus 2K pi. Okay, all over N. Okay, so kung napapansin mo, fix natin dito yung modulus na 1 eh. So, meaning, ang nangyari dito, this is equivalent lang sa 1 raised sa 1 over N. Tapos, C's ng, yung theta is always 0 degrees yan. Plus 2K pi over N. So, meaning, yung 1 raised to 1 over N, sa kahit anong N yan, that is always 1. Okay, so assuming real number yung pinag-uusapan, hindi natin sinunod si complex number. So, therefore, this is only equivalent sa C's ng 2K pi over N. Or, simply, this is cosine ng 2K pi over N plus I sine ng 2K pi over N. So, sa pagkuha ng C sub K, ito yan. Yan yung gagamitin. Ito yung formula na gagamitin natin. Okay, so try na natin sa square root of 1. So example, si square root of 1. Okay, since unity lang pinag-uusapan, lagi lang si 1 to. So baka sabihin mo, sir, ibang unity, si negative 1. Hindi siya unity. Si unity, si 1. Okay, so si 1, square root of 1. So wala na tayo ibang gagawin. So proceed agad tayo. So C sub 0. Okay, so for C sub 0, that is cosine ng 2 times 0 times 180 degrees all over 2 kasi dalawa yan. Okay, then plus I sine ng 2 times 0 times 180 degrees all over 2, which is simply cosine 0. Tama, this is cosine 0 degrees plus I sine 0 degrees. Okay, note that cosine 0 degrees is 1 plus I times 0, which is equal sa 1. So, tama, 1 yung isa. So, expect natin dapat dito negative 1. So, next is C sub 1. C sub 1 is equal to cosine ng 2 times 1 times 180 degrees all over 2 plus I sine ng 2 times 1 times 180 degrees all over 2. So, this is equivalent sa cosine 180 degrees. Tama, that's cosine 180 degrees. Okay, plus I sine ng 180 degrees. So, obviously, cosine ng 180 degrees is negative 1. Tapos, sine ng 180 degrees is 0. Times I is 0. So, this is equal sa negative 1 only. So, tama. Ang square root ng 1 is 1 and negative 1. Okay, so ngayon, punta tayo sa cube root. So, pagdating ba ng cube root, yan tatlo. So, yun yung aalamin natin kung yung tatlo yan. So, by the way, ito pa yan. Mamaya na, hindi ko pa may ipapakita dyan. So, doon tayo sa number 2. Kunin natin yung cube root ng unity. Okay, yung cube root ng unity. So, mag-start tayo sa C sub 0. C sub 0 is equal to, ganito na lang, para may convenient na solution. C of 2 times 0 times 180 degrees all over 3. Okay, so after mo masolve yan, 2 times 0 times 180 is 0. Divided by 3 is 0. So, gawin mong ganito. Magiging cosine ng 0 degree plus I sine ng 0 degree. So, therefore, that is equivalent sa 1. Kasi, parehas na sa kanina eh. So, ginawa ko lang from C's, nasolve ko sa loob, alam ko na ilalagay ko. So, pwede yun, imbes na ganito kahaba. So, para hindi masyadong tedious. So, next, C sub 1. C sub 1 is C's ng 2 times 1 times 180 degrees all over 3. So, 2 times 180 is 360 divided by 3 is 120 degrees. So, therefore, this is cosine ng 120 degrees plus I sine ng 120 degrees. Then, solve natin yan. What is cosine 120 degrees? Cosine 120 degrees is negative 1/2. Okay, this is negative. Sine 120 degrees is square root of 3 over 2. So, that is plus I square root of 3 over 2. This box. Okay, the next is C sub 2. That is C's ng 2 times 2 times 180 degrees all over 3. Okay, so after na solve ko, no, 2 times 2 times 180, that's 4 times 180 degrees. So check ko lang ha, 4 times 180, okay, then divided by 3 is 240. So this is equal sa cosine 240 degrees plus I sine ng 240 degrees. So next is cosine 240 degree. Cosine 240 degree is equal to negative 1 half. So this is negative 1 half minus sine 240 is negative square root of 3 over 2. So this negative I is square root of 3 over 2. Okay, so yan yung function. So ngayon, ang another pinagkaiba natin ni unity, ina-expand. Okay, iginagraph. So igagraph natin siya in terms dun sa ating z-plane. So pag ginraph natin yung z-plane, ganito yan. So lalakihan ko na. Okay, so pag ginraph, so nasan si 1? Si 1 is 1, 0. Dito yan. So assuming ito yung 1, ito yung 1, ito yung 1, ito yung 1, so ito yung 1. So ito yung 1, 0. Tama, kasi 1, 0 to. Itong part nito is 1, 0. Ito naman is negative 1 half, square root of 3 over 2. Ito naman is negative 1 half, negative square root of 3 over 2. So next is negative 1 half, plus negative square root of 3 over 2. So negative 1 half, plus positive. So something nandito yan. Okay, then yung isa nandito. Okay, so ito si C sub 0, C sub 1, then C sub 2. So obviously, tingnan nyo, makaka-form ka dyan ng triangle. Okay, so pag fourth root, syempre makaka-form ka ng square. Pag fifth root, pentagon. So make sure na dapat equal yung length din yung side. So i-ruler nyo or i-graphing paper. So again, pag pinapasol ko yung unity, ipaparepresent ko yung graph. So pinapakuha. Pag unity yung pinapakuha ko yung end root, pinapakuha ko yung graph. Pag pinapakuha ko lang yung square root ng complex number or fifth root or something complex number, hindi unity, hindi ko pinapakuha yung graph. Okay, so hoping na masatulan mo. So kung sa pansin mo, mas madali pag unity, mas madali yung formula. So huwag ka malilito sa dalawa, huwag mong pagpalitin. So exclusive lang tong formula to para kay unity. Okay, so that's all for this week. So hoping na may natutunan ka.